Let's talk about how to stop letting people walk all over you. If you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, why didn't I just say something? Or found yourself saying yes when every part of you knew that you wanted or even needed to say no, then this is for you. Because here's the truth. People don't walk all over you because you're weak. They do it because you've been conditioned to believe that your value comes from keeping everybody else happy or comfortable. You do it because deep down, you really want to feel loved and appreciated, but end up feeling anything but. So today, I'm going to show you how to stop overgiving. Stop over-accommodating. Stop being the one that everyone relies on, but that no one really appreciates, without becoming cold, resentful, or disconnected. But first, if you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. My name is Julia Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, a speaker, and the author of my book, Drive Your Own Darn Bus. And I help heart-centered humans think better, feel better, and live better so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. So let's talk about what's really going on under this pattern of overgiving, over-accommodating, over-complying, always being the easy, agreeable one who says yes to everything. If you learned early on that love or safety came with conditions, maybe you're the one who had to stay calm so that nobody exploded. Or you're the one who had to take care of everyone else just to keep the peace. Then being small, being agreeable, being compliant became your survival skill. It's essentially how you got your needs for love, connection, or acceptance met, or at least to the extent that they could have been met under those conditions. You learned that harmony equals safety. And this one's going to be especially true for those of you who are my helpers, my empaths, or my highly sensitive people who were raised by emotionally immature parents. You essentially built your identity around being the easy or agreeable one, even if it wasn't and still isn't in alignment with who you truly are, what you truly want, what you truly need. So if you grew up and learned that the way to have your need for love, acceptance, or belonging met was through this type of self-abandonment, then you are continuing to do that now. You are continuing to essentially abandon yourself for the sake of other people and wanting them to love and accept you. But it's coming at a cost. It's coming at a big cost. And how we self-abandon now, how we teach other people to take advantage of us or walk all over us, comes up or shows up in these really kind of subtle ways that you might not even be aware of, because essentially we teach people how to treat us by what we are allowing or not allowing, what we are agreeing to or not agreeing to, by what we are advertently or not saying is okay with us or not okay with us. So we teach people that it's okay to not value us. It's okay to take us for granted because essentially we are not valuing ourselves. And that's where the deeper root of this comes in. So what are some of these subtle ways that we teach other people that we don't believe that we are worthy enough to be treated with more appreciation, value, and respect? The first way is when you start to over-explain even simple decisions. You're basically saying that you have to get other people's approval, or you have to justify what you want, need, think, or feel, that you have to get them to be okay with it, which gives the power over how you feel about yourself to them. The next sign, you treat other people's wants as essentially more important than your needs. You're telling them not to value you because you don't value you. The next sign, You say yes immediately to practically every request that comes your way, which then teaches people that you are readily available for everything, have nothing better to do, and so essentially, they don't really need to value your time because you're happy to do it and have nothing better to do. And they can almost start to feel like they're doing you a favor by giving you something to do, even though the truth of it is that you might be already overrun, overstressed, have enough on your plate. But again, that desire to be wanted, to be loved, to be accepted, to be appreciated is coming through in these immediate yeses, but it's actually having the opposite impact of what you were hoping for. The next sign, you downplay hurtful behavior just to keep the peace. Someone makes a passive-aggressive comment, they make you the butt end of their joke, they say something that feels a little bit like a dig, but it's not that obvious, but you can feel it, and you just kind of brush it off. You just kind of laugh it off, even though on the inside it stings. But you don't want to say anything because you don't want to upset anyone. You don't want to be the difficult one. And so you act like it's no big deal to you when it actually is. Again, teaching people that they can treat you poorly. They can be disrespectful to you. They can make you the butt end of their joke and laugh at you instead of with you, and you're okay with it. It teaches them that they don't really need to respect you because obviously you're not respecting yourself by putting in a boundary, speaking up, or saying something when they do stuff like this. The next sign. On those rare occasions where you do really have to say no to something, you over-justify it, you over-explain it, you feel really guilty about it, and you try to get them to be okay with your no by doing that, over-explaining and over-justifying and feeling really guilty about it. Now, if you struggle with clear yet kind ways to say no and stick to it and feel good about it, I have a guide for you. It's my 25 healthy ways to say no. And it's going to walk you through 25 scripts that you can use anytime in a whole bunch of different situations at work, with family, with things if you have kids in school, if you have community involvements and people are asking you for things. This is going to be a really good one. 25 healthy ways to say no, and it's totally free, so make sure you grab that. The link is in the description below. So knowing that each one of these behaviors might make you think like you are being a good, kind, accommodating person, and maybe there is some aspects to that, but when it keeps happening, and when it keeps happening at your expense, and when you are not listening to yourself and what you truly want, need, think, or feel, and keeping those things pushed down, repressed, or neglected, then you are actually abandoning yourself. And that teaches other people not to value you because of that hard truth that you are not valuing you. So here's what we need to do. We need to get better at letting people be disappointed and letting them manage that instead of us trying to manage their emotions for them. You can be kind and you can be clear. You can be generous and have healthy boundaries. And you can't control how other people are going to react when you allow yourself to count in your own life. But what you can do is manage yourself in the face of whatever reaction they might have. And here's a really simple little phrase that is going to set you free from this guilt, from feeling like a bad person or that you're responsible for other people's feelings. And it's a simple phrase that you can just say to yourself anytime those feelings are coming up. Just simply saying, I am okay with them being disappointed. Because what that one sentence does is it rewires into your brain and it settles into your nervous system that other people can be upset and I am still okay. I am still safe. So now For the next time that something comes your way, if you want a practical set of skills to be able to stop the people pleasing, stop the over accommodating, stop the self sacrificing to the point that it's not even what you want. I'm going to walk you through a 5-letter acronym to remember the next time, and this is going to help you start to change these patterns, change these learned behaviors, and start letting yourself be a player, be a priority in your own life. And the acronym is STAND. Starts with S, which stands for stop the reflex. Stop the reflex of yes. Don't rush to fix or please or immediately give your yes. Take a minute to pause and to breathe. And you can even ask yourself, what response would I give to this if I wasn't afraid of upsetting or disappointing anyone? There again comes that difference between kindness and compliance. The next is T. And T stands for tell the truth. Name what is real. Being able to say, I don't have the capacity for that right now. Or if you need a minute to think about it, to actually consider whether or not you can take this thing on, giving the I'll get back to you phrase. Just simply saying, I'm not sure yet. Let me get back to you. And that simple phrase will break that cycle of people-pleasing or automatic yesing because it will give you that space to sit with that discomfort of not giving your immediate yes, but also not having to say immediately no, which can be horrific for those among us who have been raised to be people pleasers or have learned to be compliant or easy or over accommodating. But just starting with that simple, let me get back to you, which is going to buy you some time to really consider and think about, do I have the capacity for this? What will my yes benefit and what will it cost? And being able to take that inventory and mindfully decide which decision, which response you are going to give. A stands for assert the boundary. Say it clearly, no extras. And again, if you want help with this one, get my 25 ways to say no. It's a guide with 25 word for word, script by script, ways to say no in all kinds of different situations or relationships. The link for that is in the description below, and it's completely free. But saying your no, setting that boundary clearly without any extras. Just being able to say something like, I'm sorry, but I can't take that on right now. Or I can do this, but I can't do this. And that one's a really good one if you want to be able to do part of it, but you can't do all of it. You're allowed to say yes with parameters. And this is also a really good one for people who have a hard time with no and you're worried about getting a lot of pushback with the no. Being able to clearly state off the bat what you are available for and what you aren't available for. And that makes it very clear to them instead of giving them that hard no that they might find really hard if they're not used to you ever saying no, or they might push back on, which is going to cause a lot of anxiety to come up in you or maybe even guilt. Starting with just making it clear what you are available for and what you aren't available for. And that often prevents any kind of pushback because of that clarity. And then N stands for normalize your no. And this is for you to be getting more clear on and to be wiring into your own internal belief system that you are allowed to prioritize your limits. You are allowed to prioritize your capacity. You're allowed to even prioritize your preferences. You are allowed to count in your own life too. It's not all about you, but it's also not never about you. And then our D stands for detach with dignity. You don't need to argue your value. You don't need to convince anybody of your worth. Just hold your ground calmly and kindly, and it will start to become loud and clear. And yes, when you start setting boundaries, when you start communicating your capacity, your limits, your wants, your needs, your preferences, some people will not like it. Some people will push back, and they will accuse you of changing because you are. You are finally starting to treat yourself the way that you've always deserved to be treated. And that is going to change how you show up. So do prepare for pushback, because there will be people in your life who benefited from you always being over-accommodating, over-giving, overly compliant, but never actually really appreciated it. So know that their discomfort doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that you're doing something different, and they will eventually, most likely, adjust and adapt to you and to what your new normal is. And as author and activist Glennon Doyle says, when you start showing up as your full, unapologetic self, some people will come around and some people will stop coming around. Either way, lovely. Know that you are allowed to be a priority in your own life. You're allowed to matter in your own decisions that affect you and your own life. You don't owe anyone comfort at the expense of your self-worth. You can be kind and clear. You can be loving and giving and generous and have boundaries. You can be loved and valued by people without letting them walk all over you. Boundaries aren't walls. They are doors that teach people how to treat you. And if you want those clear yet kind ways to say no, make sure you grab that 25 ways to say no. The link is in the description below, and let me know which of this connected with you. Are you someone who over-accommodates and over-pleases and gives yes too quickly and end up feeling unappreciated or disrespected or not even really valued? Maybe even a little resentful? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, it is so good to have you here. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of those around you. Bye for now.